Now welcome back to the road to 25k, turning £1,000 into £25,000 by flipping cool, broken cars. Now we bought this Fiesta XR2i, which has been sat in a barn for around 7 or 8 years. Now we got it for £2,000 because it is rotten and it does not run. Now in the last video we tried to get this thing running after putting a battery to it and getting locked out the car.
I hope that door's open because the keys are in there. Yeah, right, you're on it there. Go on. Whoa!
We couldn't actually get it running because of a fuel pump problem. The fuel pump itself was dead and all of the wiring powering the fuel pump was completely dead as well. So today we're going to get this Fiesta XR2i up and running, see what it sounds like, see if it actually runs, and then we've got to fix all of that rust as well, which I still don't know the extent of.
Just go for it. Right people, we're back with un Fiesta. Lots of people had lots of different comments in the last video about what this car actually is. People tell me, no, it's an RS 1800. It's not an RS 1800. It is an XR2i, just with an RS 1800 engine in. So just so we are aware of that. And yes, people, I know that this is going to be rusty. You guys have clearly never seen the S14 build because that car came out the bottom of the sea. So we're not worried about this. We're not scared. We need to get this thing running today because A, I want the motivation of it running, and B, when we're doing the rust, we're going to need to be able to move the car around. Pushing it and stuff is going to be a pain in the arse, so we need to get this thing running. So in front of me, somewhere, I have a new fuel pump. Ah, there it is. Let's install the new fuel pump. Okay, so here is the fuel pump assembly. Now, we're not here to restore this Fiesta. I know I've probably got some keen Ford owners watching this because of this car. We're not here to restore it. We're just here to make it better. If we're going to restore it, we're not going to make any profit on it, and I'm going to have to post it for money that no one's going to buy it for. So we're not going to do that. We're going to be reasonable. And reasonable is getting it up to a running state. Reasonable is not restoring it. So let's change this fuel pump.
Now I got this fuel pump from eBay. It's from a reputable eBay company, and it is actually for an XR2i and an XR3i. Now what you usually find with these fuel pumps is they kind of are aftermarket and generic, but they just kind of make them fit the car you're buying them for. So it's not going to be a perfect fit, but we've got to make it work. So this fuel pump, like pretty much all of the fuel pumps, doesn't actually come with the original Ford plug. It just comes with 2 bare wires, so you've actually got to crimp them on. Now annoyingly, this kit didn't actually come with the fuel rated crimps, so luckily Steve had some lying around. So we're going to have to crimp them on, and then we're going to have to heat shrink them to keep it fully insulated. Now the kit did come with the rubber seals and the kind of things it sits in, but it kind of doesn't sit as well as the original fuel pump. I just think the plastic has moved over time and it's just not sitting well, so I'm actually going to use a Jubilee clip just to keep it all tight so it doesn't actually fall away from the actual assembly. And then it comes with a new sock filter as well, which just pushes on. So that is our new fuel pump assembly ready to go in the car.
So this fuel in here is horrendously dirty. It is dirty. And there's bits of plastic / rubber from where the fuel pump has basically disintegrated all in the bottom of the fuel tank. Now, although we just put a new filter on, we're going to try and be as nice as possible to that filter. And I don't want to be flushing this fuel through an already old engine and through a new fuel pump. Get it all out. So we're going to get the fuel out here with a little bit of a suction tool that we've got going on. And then we're going to try and get the big bits of rubber that's still in there. Hopefully just by our hand, or if we've got a suction tool. I was going to use a hoover, and Steve said, don't use a hoover because you might set yourself on fire. And I said, it would be fucking alright. And then anyway, he said, no, don't use a hoover. And I said, okay, maybe I won't use a hoover. Right, so get that grinder out of the way. People really didn't like the fact I was grinding that fuel line the other day. Come on, guys, it's not like it's fucking petrol or anything in there. It's diesel, it's not going to explode. What we're going to do now is, since we've got all that fuel out, all I'm going to do, well, that moves around, is just get a rag in there and just literally scoop up those pieces of dirt at the bottom. Yes, people are going to be saying in the comments, oh, you need to take the fuel tank out, and you need to do... No, you don't. I'm here to show you how the real world works, guys. I'm quite vocal with that, really. Again, this isn't the car that we're restoring. This is a car that we're fixing. If you want a perfect example of a Fiesta XR2i, then don't buy one off me. If you want one for cheap that's in good condition, it'll pass an MOT and it runs great, then great, buy one off me. But I'm not that guy. This bit here has got a filter in the bottom of this. And the fuel pump's got a filter. It's not going to suck up anything, you know. As long as you've got the majority of shit out, you'll be sound. We've got some fuel. So to top it up, we've got to obviously get to the fuel filler cap. So now is going to be a good time so you can see how bad this rust is around here. And this is the first time me looking at it properly, because obviously it was covered. I've seen photos. Oh, beautiful. Look at all that. Oh, nice. Now I do have a repair panel for this, but it's in the boot. And right now, I can't get to the boot. So we're going to have to chop all of this out. But before I chop all this out, let's put fuel in her. Let's see if she runs. The interesting thing about these old cars is that they usually have a different key for everything. So they've got a different key for the boot, different key for the door, different key for the ignition, different key for the fuel filler cap. And that one's come off quite nicely. So luckily that fuel killer is plastic. So if that was metal, we'd probably be quite worried. That would probably be rotten as well. But it's plastic, so that's fine. Right, let's put some fuel in this bad boy. Okay, so we've got the fuel pump here. So just for testing purposes, we're not going to fully tighten it down. We're just going to have it dangling outside because we're not going anywhere. So it doesn't really matter. So we're going to whack that fuel pump in there. And then we're literally just going to leave it like that for the time being. Just connect the fuel lines up. Obviously, we're going to have to just budge something here for the time being, just to make sure it runs. Just put a little bit of hose, but we are going to have to go under the car because annoyingly I snapped this connector last time, so it's so old. So I'm going to have to go under the car and see where this plastic line goes and then replace that plastic line, preferably for rubber, like some new fuel line. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave the fuel pump in like that. It's going to get fuel like that. It's going to be fine. But if we've got any problems, we'll take it out. Yes, I know everyone commented about this. Oh my God, what's happened there? Some guy already cut it and folded it back to get to the fuel line. I still couldn't get to him, so I've cut it and folded it back even more. You gotta do what you gotta do, guys. It is what it is. I'll whack it back down. If I really want to weld it up and clean it up, I will. Probably won't for the next person, but I'm gonna whack it back down, put some over the top, bada bing, bada boom. Right, for the time being, I've just bridged that line with a bit of fuel line. It's tight, it's not gonna leak. We're not gonna do that long term. And we're gonna start her up and pray it runs. And if it runs, we're gonna get onto the welding, which is the scary part. We're not scared, it's not that scary. So the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to try and figure out why the original wire isn't getting 12 volts. We're just going to give it a ground and give it a power. So what that means is that this wire here is going straight to the battery. So we're just going to give it straight 12 volts. And this is just going to make sure that the fuel pump is working and also that we're not going to be leaking fuel from my little, some people might call bodge, but I'm going to call it temporary solution. So when I touch this now, we should hear that fuel pump whining. Boom, it's whining. Nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect that for a few seconds and I'm just going to get fuel up into the fuel rail and back into the pump. I'm just going to get something cycling because if we crank this now, there's no fuel in the rail. So I'm just going to hold it here for a few seconds. Let it pick up fuel, I can hear it squirting. Right, that's cycled around now. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna start it. We're gonna get the key in and we're gonna fire her up. Right, so we are ready to start. So now we can do these kind of health checks. Now I did have a message from a guy on Instagram the other day saying that they have a common problem on these is that the oil pump sticks or something like that sticks. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to keep cranking it and cranking it and cranking it a lot longer and just make sure that oil pressure light goes out. It would be good to have an oil pressure gauge, but I don't think there's an oil pressure gauge on there. So as long as that oil pressure light goes out when I'm cranking, that'd be good. Some cars, they don't go out when they're cranking. It's going to stay on even if it's until it runs. So if it gets to the point where I am quite confident we're getting oil pressure, we're going to fire it up, and if the oil pressure light doesn't go out within a couple of seconds, I'm going to knock it off. So first of all, I'm just going to make sure we've got oil in here and see the condition of the oil, to be fair. Now that is actually still quite golden. We are going to do an oil change, but I'm happy with that oil in there. If it was black or whatever, I think that oil's actually okay. It's going to be okay for a first start anyway. Let's go for some cranks without the fuel pump on, and let's hope that that oil light goes out. So we've got no fuel pump at the minute. It ran then because there's fuel in the lines. Right, I've just cranked it and the oil light has gone out straight away. So it's the oil light's on the left, so I'm going to crank. It's gone out straight away. It's trying to fire, but it's gone out straight away. So I'm going to connect the fuel pump and we're going to go for it. Right, it's going to be quite a quick procedure. So I'm just going to get this wire and put it straight. You can't see me right now, but I'm putting it straight to the negative side of the fuel pump. Fuel pump is on. And we're going to go for the first start. Again, it might not crank straight away because it's probably lost a bit of fuel pressure now, but let's just go for it. Woohoo! I can't tell if that's idling bad or it's idling really good. Oh no, it's definitely idling bad. We've definitely got a misfire. There's definitely a misfire. So it's gonna let it roll through, but we've definitely got a misfire there. It's running on 3 cylinders. It's struggling. Hey! So we've definitely got a bit of a misfire. So we're going to show you the easiest way to diagnose a misfire because it's running on 3 cylinders right now. It sounds healthy, but it doesn't look healthy. It's rocking back and forth a little bit. So I think we're definitely running on 3 cylinders right now. But it's not ran in ages, so I'm just going to let it just idle. Let it get comfortable. We'll give it a minute, for some revolutions. Woohoo! Revolutions! It's definitely got a misfire. Yeah, it's definitely got a misfire. So, easy way, let's diagnose what cylinder it's missing on. Bear in mind, I've not even checked the state of these plugs. So, let's just find out if it's missing on a cylinder first. So, we'll show you how we do that. If this was a newer car, trying to figure out this misfire would be very, very, very easy because I could just plug into an OBD2. I could plug Carly into the OBD2 and it'll tell me exactly what's wrong with the car. But unfortunately, this car is too old. It doesn't have an OBD2, so you've got to do everything manually. So if your car does have OBD2, I'm going to show you how easy it is just to do a quick check, professional check of your car with something that fits in your pocket. Now, I do actually need to do this because this S3 is being sold tomorrow. A guy is literally coming from Germany who works at the US Air Force. I've done loads of things and I've done loads more things off camera. I just had to weld another O2 sensor bung on because the rear one was knackered and it was throwing a code. I've just done another dry shaft. I've got the key work. I've done a load of things off camera. And that's just because I just want this car to be good for the guy tomorrow. So I'll do one final check of the car to make sure everything is actually okay and everything's good for him. So that is as easy as Carly here. So what we need to do, so we're going to plug Carly in, turn the key on, and we're going to come onto the Carly app here and we're just going to change our car. So add new car. It is an Audi. Now this is good because at the unit here, 3 of the 4 scanners didn't actually load up what was on this car, but Carly actually does. So first of all, I'm just going to go on diagnostic. I'm just going to check everything. Now it's going to check absolutely everything in the car. ABS, air conditioning, heating, radio, battery management, chassis electronics, comfort. It's going to check absolutely everything, where a lot of scanners just check engine. So we're just going to do a full health check. Right, so we've got one issue. Everything is fine. There's one issue, but it just says radio. And that's because it's here. It's not actually plugged in. One thing I did want to check is that with Carly as well, you can actually go into live data, which is absolutely incredible. Now this car, it was having a bit of a, when it's been left for a week, it was struggling to start on the first turn. It would crank and then I'd have to crank it the second time and then it'd fire. So I'm just going to check one thing because I think that was the lambda sensor problem, but I know that a coolant temperature sensor can cause those issues. So we're going to go on engine live data. I'm just going to check the coolant temperature sensor and make sure it's just reading the correct temperature. But you can add a load of different parameters here. So this is quite an old engine, so it's not got too many. So we're just going to fire it up and just make sure the engine temperature sensor is reading, you know, like a figure which it should be. Right now we've just gone for a drive and it's measuring 82 degrees, which is pretty bang on. Now I did do a check previously as well, just when the engine was cold, and it was reading ambient temperature sensors, so that's fine. So I'm happy with this. And one more thing that you can do on Carly as well is you can actually do coding. Now this car won't have it because it's so old, But on my X5 I could code in really cool things, like I could code in the boot opening button, the key, I could code in different lights turning on and daylight running lights, and I had like 6 different computers which I could do coding in, so that was really cool on the X5. I have one in every single car, especially when I'm going abroad. So thanks Carly for sponsoring this video. There'll be a link on the screen where you can get a discount using Carly. Let's get back to the Fiesta. So to find out what cylinder it's missing on, we're going to pull one coil pack off at a time. Now if the idle changes drastically, it's not that cylinder. Oh, there we go. So you see it's making no difference on idle with that cylinder out. So we'll try another one for reference, because we can't get to them two. So we'll try this one here for reference. Now when I pull this out, you should hear it die really, or try and die. Okay, that's weird. Let's try the... So it's... Oh! So... Okay, you know what I think's happening here? I think because the coils haven't been moved in so long, they've not been connecting, or they're a bit rusty. So now I've moved that coil pack around. As you can see, it's trying to die. So it's not that cylinder. Or it could be the case that all the plugs are a bit shit. Cheeky, you stay there, Mr. Camera. I think what's happening there is we're getting sporadic misfires all over the place. Oh, that fuel pump's still on. We're getting sporadic misfires all over the place. Now, what you usually find is that if it's just one cylinder that's not changing the idle, it's going to be that cylinder. But now we're moving the plugs around, we're moving the coil packs around, and it's jumping around all over the place. So I personally think it's going to be the plugs that are gone. So we're going to take the plugs out and first of all, just inspect them. And then we'll order some more. If we can get them now, we'll change them. But if we can't get them, we'll clean them and put them back in again. So let's get them out.
Now, old engines like this are super easy to work on. There's just one Jubilee clip. You can pull the intake and you're at the coil packs and the plugs. Think of some cars nowadays, it's a full day job to change some spark plugs on some of the new engines.
Now, if you're a rich bastard, you will have magnetic or rubber spark plug sockets. But I'm a brokey, so I do it the old-fashioned way. So use one of the coil packs to pick them up like that. But if you're not that much of a brokey, one of these, just go boop, boop, boop. Okay, they're pretty old. So I think, but I don't know what bloody plugs to get. That's the problem, it's a different bloody engine. Right, it runs. Whey! Bought us some spark plugs. They're going to be here probably the next half an hour or so. So that gives us half an hour to try to diagnose why we're not getting any fuel on or why we're not getting 12 volts on the original fuel pump wiring. Now, there's a few things on these Fiestas which are a bit of a safety precaution. Sorry for the noise. So we're going to do the first one. On these Fiestas, they have a fuel safety cutoff switch. So I think if anything grounds or it thinks you've been in an accident, it'll cut power to the fuel pump. Now, potentially that might have happened here at some point. Obviously not in an accident, but it might have shorted out. It might have corroded after time, or whatever. Now, there's a little fuel safety cutoff switch apparently in the passenger footwell somewhere. So we're just going to double check that and make sure that that is not open circuited. Come down here. I've looked all behind the plastic and there's a little box there which looks very similar. In fact, it probably is this because there's a little hole here which I can just get my hand in, and there's a button which I'm pressing right now. So let's put this away so I can show you. And there's a little button right at the top here, so I'm going to press that. Okay, so we're still not getting any power at the fuel pump wire. We've checked the fuel cutoff switch and that seems to be fine. So now we just got to check the fuses.
Now the fuse box is just under the steering wheel to the right of the steering wheel, and I found that the fuse number 19, which is this 20 amp, is for the fuel pump. So first of all, we're just going to just check and see if it's blown, which it isn't. Now it's not blown. So now what we can do here is we can actually do a few tests to see if the fuse is getting power. Because if the fuse isn't getting any power, then it's something to do with the relay or the wiring before that. But if the fuse is getting power and it's transferring power between them, then it's something wrong between here and the fuse box. So again, we're going to get our multimeter and do a couple more little tests.
Use this whiteboard here to demonstrate what we're looking for and how we're going to fix this wiring. So at the end of the cycle here, we've got the fuel pump, okay? Now the fuel pump is going to have a positive wire, it's going to have a black wire, and the black wire is just going to ground it, okay? So the fuel pump, this is a positive wire. And then we're going to come to a fuse, okay? Like this. Now the idea of the fuse is current's going to come in this way, it's going to pass over here, and then it's going to continue back to that wire. So we're going to have 12 volts, it's going to come, it's going to have a little wire in here, so if the current gets too much, it's going to pop that fuse, okay? Now we come back down to here, and we're going to have a relay with usually 4 pins like this, 4 pins. Now the relay's job is to go through the fuse to the fuel pump. That is the relay's job. Now on a relay, we're going to have 4 wires. Now one of them is going to be a ground. That's grounds the relay. Okay. Now the other one is going to be a signal wire. So we're going to bring this signal wire up here. Actually, we can't see that. Let's choose a different color. The signal wire is going to be one of these, and we're going to come up here. Now that's signal, okay? And then we're going to have one wire, which comes and joins here to the fuse. And the other wire is going to be a big red one, which gives the fuse or the relay power all the time. Now that is an electrical system, and this comes over to the battery, okay? Plus and minus. Now that is how a fuel or a wiring system in a car works. So we have the battery, and the battery is going to be grounded just to the body. Now the battery is going to give power to the relay. So the relay is powered all the time, and it's grounded here. So it's grounded all the time as well. Now there's 2 important wires here on the relay. So you have a power out, which goes through the fuse into whatever it is. So at this point, it's a fuel pump. So this power wire comes along a long, nice route. And there's a couple things what can happen which can stop this from working. We could have a blown fuse. We could have a cut in one of the wires, or the relay could be gone itself. Now that is one of the things we're looking for. Now what turns the relay on, so since this always has power and it's always grounded, you have what you call a signal wire to that relay. And this signal wire can be multiple different things. In older cars like this, it is literally just the turn of a key. You turn the key on, it signals the relay to turn on, and it sends the power through the fuse to the fuel pump. On newer cars, usually this might be an ECU. So the ECU is going to control that relay. But realistically, you can have whatever you want as that signal wire. If you want it to go through the car, you can put it in an ECU. But as long as you have a safety circuit which turns this relay off, you're golden. So what we need to find out now is where this wire goes to this fuse, where this fuse goes to this relay, and see which part of this relay isn't working. So we need to see if it's getting 12 volts, if it's getting ground, and if it's getting a signal. Now that signal will be when you turn the key. So when we turn the key, this should be getting 12 volts. This will get 12 volts all the time, and this will get 12 volts hopefully when we turn the key as well, because these are switched. So when you turn the key, it links these two together, sends them. And then this is just a ground. So we need to find this relay, because we know the fuse is good, we know the wiring's good, so this has to be the culprit.
So we know in theory what we need to do, but I don't know where that relay is. So we're going to have to find it by tracing a lot of the wires back. So we're going to undo the 2 screws, and we're going to drop the whole relay and fuse box in one. So the first thing we're going to do is test the fuse. Now the fuse is the last port of call before it goes to the fuel pump. And the fuse is not getting power on either side, which means the relay is not sending power to this fuse.
So following this wire, which goes to the fuel pump, it goes, you can see the 2 wires. It could be difficult for you to see, but I'm going to tell you where they go to. It comes into that 19 fuse here. So this side, the left-hand side of that fuse, is the out. So the right-hand side of this fuse is going to go to the relay. So we find that wire. It's quite difficult to have a look under there. You find that wire, you follow that wire, and it goes back to this yellow relay here.
So now we've found the relay, we can test those 4 things which I mentioned on the whiteboard earlier.
So that's our relay getting constant 12 volts. So that is the power ground, the power wire, all good. Now watch this. So when we turn the key, that is our switch live. So that's working. Our switch live is working. Our main live is working. So I think we know what the answer is. I think we're going to have a grounding issue on this relay. So we're on continuity. We've got that to a ground. And not one of these are beeping. Not one are beeping. Now what usually is, it's usually this pin on the left. So this should be the ground. But as you can see, we've got nothing. So this relay isn't getting grounded, which means it's not being able to transfer the power over to this wire. It's not getting to the fuel pump. So we're going to give this relay its own ground. We're going to trace this ground back and see where it's going to. But that's our problem. Now this is our ground here for that relay. And it was coming up to here. Now at some point that's losing its ground somewhere. So all we've done is we've tapped into another ground on another relay. So now we're touching that wire. We've got a ground. And we should be getting 12 volt there now. So we're back on our fuel pump wiring. And we're getting 0 volts because we've not got the key on. When we turn the key, it's going to send the signal down the relay. The relay is now transferring all that power to this wire. And once we ground it, boom, 12 volts. So now that is our fuel pump working on the actual key. We don't have to do any wiring, which is amazing. So we've got all the wiring tucked up, nicely done away. Now all we've got to do is just connect these 2 back together. Now you connect these how you want to connect these, and I'm going to connect these how I want to connect these. Now I've made multiple drift cars and stuff from scratch, and I've done every method of wiring together. I've used crimps, I've soldered, heat shrink. I personally find the best way to do something is to twist and tape. A lot of people are going to get annoyed at me for that. I find that works for me. Crimps always fail. My E30 drift car, I've only had 2 problems ever, and they've both come from crimps coming loose. And now all the wiring is tucked away. We should get the fuel pump on the key. Yeah, working. Nice.
An absolute perfect timing because my plugs have turned up. Let's whack these in and let's see if she's purring.
Right, here we go. First start on the key, no external wiring. Let's see how she purrs. Hopefully she sounds a lot nicer than plugs. Oh, listen to that. Purring like a Ford. Seriously, that actually sounds really good. Look how smooth that engine is now. I thought it was rocking all over the show. That sounds great. That sounds really good. That is one happy Ford. God, I could bounce a glass of wine on that. Not for long because I drink it, but I could. Hell yeah! Right, it's bloody running. She's running. It's love. Right. We need to find out why it's got no coolant in it. It's got absolutely no coolant in it, so we can't run it for long. So we're going to top it up with coolant, and let's see, slash pray, it's not pissing out from anywhere, because there's a reason it's got no coolant. Who would drain it for no reason, you know? So, yeah, let's fill her up. So for the time being, I'm just going to top it up with water for 2 reasons. One, if there is a leak, I would rather water be all over the floor than coolant. And 2, I'm going to give it a flush anyway. So we're going to flush it through with water. So I'm just going to top it up with water first and foremost. So let's fire her up. We'll keep her running. We'll put the heaters on full just so it cycles through the heater matrix and everything. I know that these are working because I tried the other day. Whoa, all the dust that blew out of there then. So our temperature gauge, it is moving. Oh God, we've got a problem here. Where's that coming from? Is the heater matrix? Where's that coming from? Seriously, where the hell is that coming from? Is the heater matrix leaking? Oh God, oh God! Oh my God, turn it off! Oh my God! Oh no! Oh, okay. That's why the coolant was out. Someone's tried to change the heater matrix and clearly not changed it. Right, I need to get a rag on here quick. Oh my God. Yes, that is a hole in the... oh my God, there's a hole in the heater matrix. So I'm going to have to get this out. Now, is this going to be an easy job? Oh my days, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. Is it a whole dash out job? Oh no, this is not what you want to be doing, guys. Instead of going for the pull everything and snap everything response, I'm just going to try and do the smart thing and remove this lower dash surround here. So, no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try and use whatever smartness I have. So we'll pull that up, we'll pull that out of the way, and there should be some screws under here for this lower dash. Aha! And this might be a good time to have a look at the wiring for our boot release. It doesn't seem to be working, and I need to get in the boot, because in the boot is my fuel cap panel that I'm welding in. That is gonna not smell very nice. Come on. Alright, but to be fair, that might be all we need. Got some free electrical tape that was hiding under there. Right, to be fair, that should be enough room to pull that out now. Oh my God, there's so much water in there. I think this dash bit, this centre bit, it's got to come fully out. But I don't know how to get it over the bloody shifter. How do I get this bit out over the shifter? Yes! Right, that's going to be an absolute nightmare to get back in. Fucking hell, I got a free rubber and some free electrical tape, guys. Jorex, what's the date on this? What is the date on this? 2015! Woohoo! Fuck it, we'll see if it works. Oh, yes, come on. Please, yes. Oh, there's water going everywhere. Oh, no, it's going everywhere. Oh, no. Okay, never mind, we got it out, though. Right, that absolutely stinks. I don't want it to really set into the carpet, so I've got a heat gun on. Getting some heat in here. Hopefully it'll dry all that out the carpet, because that was pretty disgusting. Disgusting! And the heater matrix is up there, which you've got to change in a minute, but let's just try and dry it out a bit. Okay, so it does just sit in that plastic thing. So I'm guessing what we've got to do now is go into the engine bay and undo the two hoses. Once we've got them two hoses out of the way, it should just pull out here.
Now those hoses are right at the back of the engine, and it is full with cobwebs and dead spiders, so I'm going to hoover them out first because I hate spiders.
And you can just see there. They're the two heater matrix hoses with a load of spider webs in the way. Whee! Great!
Now to get access to these, I had to create an unhealthy relationship with a XR2i, which I don't want to talk about.
Okay. Wow. Hey! You know what? That wasn't that bad. Considering how bad heater matrices can be, that really wasn't bad. There's one on eBay for like 25 quid, so bosh, we'll be right. Now, we need to start concentrating on the bodywork of this car because there are big parts of rust, which I already know exist, and there's parts that I don't know exist either, so we've got to find them. So, first thing you need to do is get in the boot, because the actual patch that I've got for the panel is in the boot, and the boot's shut, and I don't know how to get in it. So we need to have a look at some of the buttons on that center console and see if we can get in the boot, because right now, well, I can't get in the boot. So first of all, we're going to have a look at a couple of the buttons on this little dash thing. We need to have a look why this isn't releasing the boot. I've got two buttons here which release the boot. I've got one here and one here. Now this one isn't even plugged in, which is strange. And this one is plugged in, but it's not doing anything. So we need to figure out why that's not doing anything. So the first thing to check, so I've just pulled this switch out and I've put it straight into it, so we've got a bit more room. The first thing to check is if this switch is actually getting 12 volts. And it is. It's getting 12 volts from this wire. and when I hold the switch, it's transferring the 12 volts over to this wire. So the switch is working. So I've pulled back this here, and all of these are all the wires that go into the back of the car. Now I found one here which looks like that red and white, so I've just spliced it a little bit, put my positive into there. I'm on continuity. And when we touch this to here, continuity. So this is our wire. So it's not broken until here. So what we've got to do now is trace this wire back, and hopefully it goes all the way to the boot, which I don't know how I'm going to check because I can't get in there. There's a way to put. Aha! Yes! This is good because this means now I can find the wire which has been causing me trouble. So let's see what's going on here with this lock. Okay, you've joined me from the boot. Now I've bridged the switch at the front. We're getting 12 volt here. So we need to find the ground for this boot release mechanism thing, whatever it is. And hopefully it's getting ground. Right, let's just try and get this boot open. So hopefully if I push this, I'm up. Oh, yes! Right, oh, that's one problem. It's gonna be another problem with hitting my head in a minute. We're in. Oh.
Now the only reason why I think this isn't working is that these 4 plates here might not be making good contact with these 4 pins. So I'm going to clean up the surfaces and see if that works. If not, I'm going to bring in the cavalry, which is Brendan. Now Brendan is a freelance mechanic and auto electrician who comes and works at A&D sometimes, and luckily he was in, so I went and asked him, can you have a quick look at this, mate? And he got his tool out, he started checking all the connections, and he quickly found that it was just a loose connection onto the boot release itself.
Let's try it. Hey!
So it was this connection here inside the boot mechanism. What happens over time is that if a connector's left for so long, they kind of lose contact, and all it is just simply unclipping them and clipping them back together, and it refreshes that contact and it starts working again.
Alright, so it's going to keep giving it a go. So we're going to lock the boot. I'm going to press the switch. Boom! There it goes. Nice. Très bien, c'est bon, c'est bon, c'est bon. Right, we're going to end this episode here. We've got it running. We've sorted out the boot. They were pretty much the only problems with the car other than the rust. So we can't start the car anymore and get it up to temperature and stuff because we can't start it because we've not got a heater matrix in there. So it's just going to piss water everywhere from the water pump. So I've ordered one of those. It's going to be here in 2 days. Now, the next thing we're going to do is the welding. We're going to start addressing all the welding. Now, welding is one of those things you've got to get a load of grinders. You've got to be in horrible gear. You've got to prep yourself to do welding and grinding because it is a bit of a nasty, shitty job. So I'm not going to start it now just to do 20 minutes of work to put the welder away, put the grinder away, and get myself full of shit for no reason. So in the next video, we're going to do all the welding. We're going to cut out all of the rust, see exactly how bad it is, and start chopping away and start ordering what we need. And I can prepare myself. I can come in a shitty jacket, shitty everything, because trust me, it is a horrible job. I quite enjoy it, because it's really satisfying doing welding, and it's really good learning something that you're not fully comfortable with. So like welding things together is great, but welding things onto a car is difficult, especially if it's body. Chassis's all right, you can make it work, but body rust I'm not that good at, so it's going to be good to learn a little bit more on that and get some filler on and stuff like that. So in the next video, we're going to be doing that. For now, I'm not going to make myself dirty through it. So it is running. I can't believe it's running, and it actually sounds great as well. We'll see you in the next video, guys, when we can get the welding done and start her up and get up to temperature and hear what she sounds like and get some revolution. So we'll see you in the next video. Love you all. See you next time.